Today we are going to look into MCP, Model Context Protocol. So in this video, we are going to look into what exactly MCP is. We are going to do a lot of examples of MCP server. We'll look into the code, how exactly to make your own server. So let's get started with the definition of MCP. MCP is Model Context Protocol. As name suggests, it is a protocol to provide context to the models. So here the model is like LLM model. So LLM model does not have all the context. So there are some external tools which we have to use to provide the more context to it, some real-time context to it. So I'll give you one example. Let's say you are working for a customer service and you wanted to provide the context of your order status. You wanted to tell where exactly is your order, like what is the, you wanted to give the real-time tracking information of your order. So all those information is not present with LLM because those contexts are just present in your internal system. So to provide those context to your models, you have to use some ways, some mechanism. It's not that before MCP there is no other way to provide the context to the models. There are many different ways which we have to do. The problem was like earlier when we have to provide the context to the model, there is a no common standard protocol that was present. So because of that, if you are creating your LLM application, you have to create uh, your your own integration to get the context. So you are getting the context. The thing from which you are getting the context is known as either tools, function, or server, and your LLM application becomes client. So the interaction between server and client, earlier there was no common defined protocol for that. So now we understood what exactly is model context protocol. Now let's look into architecture of model context protocol. So as I was telling you, like you can have your LLM application, which can be known as a host. So most of them, like you will be having your Claude ID, Claude desktop, or you can have your own ID, or you can have your tools LLM application that you wanted to get the external context. So other part is the server where you'll be running your functions that can provide some real-time information, some information that belongs to you and LLM does not have. So that server can be connected to the host via MCP protocol. So the host is known as MCP client and the server is known as the MCP server. So those can be connected to your local data source, like you will be having a local database, or you can connect that with the other web services via API. So I'll give you, like, still if you are confused about why exactly to use MCP. So it gives you one more important benefit, that is decoupling the server and the client. Let's say uh, anyone who wanted to make some application for integration with the GitHub, before MCP we have to create the server, we have to create our application also, and we have to create the that integration and tool how to get like a GitHub API integrated to your application. But with MCP, what has happened, like we have the GitHub we have GitHub MCP server. You can run that and you can connect to your application. So that has decoupled the server and client. So like server developers can directly develop their server, and anyone who wanted to use that server can create their client and right away use it. So development of overall LLM applications has become simplified because of the MCP. So with all this information, let's get started with how to create your own server. So in this particular document only, we can see, like, we'll have a quick start guide for server developer. If you look into that, so this document is straightforward. We'll be using UV as a package manager for Python, and you can install it. They have given the, like, how to initialize the project with the UV and how to create your virtual environments, and after that you will be creating all the dependencies. Once the dependency is created, we'll be creating the file where all the code for MCP server will be there. You can go through this document. I'll right away go to the code where I have followed these steps only to start working on this particular server. Apart from this, there are few other examples also which I have created that I'll be sharing with you. So let's get started with the examples. So these are the example which I was telling you. Yeah, like I have created three examples here. One is for the customer service. So here we will be creating the customer service, and another is like basic about learning MCP. Another is the weather server. After going through all this example, you have a very good understanding what MCP server is doing and what all capabilities which you can use in your MCP server to make it more powerful, and you have a better grasp over MCP server. So this is the example which like Entropy has given in on their site, and this example in this they have created the weather.py. So this is the same code which we have used there. So they have created mostly these are the helper functions. They have created two tools here. One is to get the alerts, and the another is to get the forecast. So and in the backend, what they are doing, they are creating one API. This is for the US weather, like weather APIs. So with this APIs, you can get the real time date weather update for the cities for which they provide the data. So mostly these provide the data for the US cities. So you can get that data from this. So in this, like most important thing which we can look is one is initializing the first MCP server. And after first MCP server, you have to give any method which you wanted to expose as a tool. You have to give it to the MCP tool. Another thing is this particular prompt which you have to give. Like these are the prompts with which LLM understand how exactly to use the tool. And these tools are normally doing the call, like these are making the API's call, and whatever result in coming into the API, they are giving into the readable form to you. So once you have written all the code, you have to configure your MCP server with your MCP client. In this example, I am using VS Code as the MCP client. We can use Claude for desktop, or you can create your own application as an MCP client. In VS Code, you can go to this particular icon for configure tools. Once you click that, scroll down, you can see add more tools and end MCP server. And you can click on command to run the local implementation of MCP. So MCP server, and the command you can give here. So command will looks like something you have to provide the UV and the directory and run weather.py. So this command you have to write it here. Once, let's say I'll just write the dummy command here. You have to actually write the complete command. So you can write py like this, and you'll just enter this, and you can give your MCP server. Once this is done, it will ask you whether you wanted to have the user setting or workspace setting. You can click on workspace setting. It will be available in setting.json. So at the end, it will generate a config something like this. Here you'll be having a weather server. So this configuration will be generated. Either you wanted to create via this route, or you can right away put the settings in the settings.json and save it, and you'll be having your server here. So you can see like these servers are running. You can click on this to run the server, and you can add your server setting in settings.json. So let's say you have this server up and running, and you wanted to get your LLM application respond with this particular server. So I can go here and see what all tools are available here. So if you'll go there, I can see there are two tools available, Get Alert and Get Forecast. Both the tools are available for this particular MCP. If this is like, as of now, this is acting as an MCP client. So this client has two server access. So two MCP server accessed from here. So there are like there are two tools which are accessible by this particular MCP client. So if I wanted to give you the real sense how exactly it looks like, so you can do what is the temperature. If you'll even write the spelling wrong, that should not matter. of New York. If you write what is the temperature of New York City, and you'll ask this question, your LLM will detect which tool to call for that, and it understands that it has to call get forecast tool, and it will run that tool and give you the latest information of the temperature for New York City. So in backend, it is calling the API, which will giving us this answer, but this readable answer is actually LLM has given you on the basis of the response which it got from the API. So this is the one flow where you are calling the external API to get the response. The another example which I have created is the basic example. Here you are not calling anything external. You are just doing some kind of computation. So this example I have get it prepared with the help of GitHub Copilot. It has created this example with the basic functionalities to demonstrate what all MCP server can do. It can make a simple function calls. It can help you persist the data in memory or even in your database. So normally these contexts which are not available to LLM, those contexts which you can provide with the MCP server. In this particular example, I have created a basic tool for add of the number. Normally also LLM can do that, but this is just an example. And you can count, you can create a function to count the characters in the text. You can add a note. Let's say you wanted to add a note. Earlier I have added one note, but now you wanted to add another note. You can say add a note. I will start building MCP server today. If you do that, LLM will understand that it has to call a tool to add a note, and it will actually add a note in your tool. So another like if you'll get all notes, you can see that there must be two notes because one note I've already created before this. So it should retrieve both the notes. If we look into the code of this code, if I'll just hide the implementation part, so it will also have the fast MCP initialize, and with that you will be having all the tools which you have. So implementation is something which you can do with your use case. This is the basic example where I have implemented basic functions like flip a coin. If you wanted to do get flip a coin type of functionality, you can right away write it here. It will understand that it has to call that particular tool and give you the output for flipping a coin. So all the tools will have this annotation, and it will initialize with the fast MCP. Another example, which is a real world example, which is for the customer service. Let's say customers service executives, they wanted to get the information of the order status, like what is the client information, and they wanted to get the information about the tickets. All those things can be accessed by MCP server. So here I have created a basic example. I have actually mocked the database as of now. It's not the real implementation. I have just added a dictionary in Python and added all the orders here, all the ticket details here, and all the customer detail here. You can have the real database and create all the information there, and you can retrieve from that. So let's say this tool is this server is also up and running. I wanted to get the status of order number 001. So I can right away do what is the status of order, and you can give the order ID. With this, it will retrieve all the context that is available of this order and give it to LLM. So you can see order status is shipped, and you can see it's shipped only. So it will get the order information from your database. You can ask the information about your customers. You can ask about your tickets, all the functionality you can build with the MCP server. So all this code I'll put it into GitHub and put the link in the description below. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand about MCP server, what exactly it is, and how to build your own MCP server. And hopefully with this, you'll start building your own MCP server and you'll build something cool. So keep building, keep learning. Goodbye.